The Random Jottings of Donald J. in Nelson in Pendle, Lancashire. Hooded person fence near Nelson, Lancashire. Tynedale Farm haunting manifestation. This farmhouse is said to be haunted by a hooded figure, a monk, a woman in grey, and a lady who sweeps the living room. Moaning and screaming have also been heard. In the small town of Fence, nestled in the countryside, there stood an old farmhouse by the name of Tynedale Farm. The farmhouse had been abandoned for years, and many of the locals whispered that it was haunted. Legend had it that a hooded figure haunted the property, appearing suddenly and vanishing just as quickly. Some claimed that the figure was a monk, others a woman in grey, and yet others claimed that it was a lady who could be seen sweeping the living room. Despite the spooky stories, a young couple, Tom and Emily, were looking for a new home and came across the abandoned farmhouse. They fell in love with its rustic charm and decided to take a closer look. As they stepped inside, they were immediately struck by the eerie silence and the musty smell of neglect. As they began to explore the house, they heard a sudden moaning sound that seemed to come from nowhere. Emily clutched Tom's arm, and they both froze in terror. Suddenly, they heard the sound of footsteps and saw a hooded figure approaching them. They tried to run, but the figure seemed to be blocking their escape. Emily screamed as the figure slowly raised its head, revealing the face of a woman in grey. The woman's eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and she let out a blood-curdling scream. Tom and Emily fled from the house, terrified and shaken to the core. They knew that they had come face to face with something truly supernatural. From that day forward, they never returned to Tynedale Farm and the hooded figure that haunted it. The legend of the hooded figure lived on, and many more curious souls ventured to the abandoned farmhouse over the years. But none ever dared to stay for long, as they too heard the screams, moans, and footsteps that seemed to echo through the empty halls. The hooded figure remained a mystery, a haunting manifestation that continued to frighten and fascinate those who dared to venture into its domain. And Tynedale Farm remained a place where the living dared not tread, for fear of encountering the ghosts of the past that still linger there. By Donald J.